This weekend was the 10th anniversary and the final running of the RussVegas Half Marathon. Let's talk about how it went. And welcome back to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather and I am glad you are here. So this weekend I added another half marathon to the list by running the 10th anniversary and final running of the RussVegas Half Marathon. Yes, unfortunately they did make the decision that this would be the last running of the race. And so I knew as soon as I heard that I had to get back into this race because I had run it once before in 2016 and absolutely loved it. It is a wonderful race in a wonderful area. And so I knew this was going to be something that I needed to be a part of. So let's go ahead and jump back into the past and take a look at Bib Pickup and the race itself. So this week, the RussVegas Half Marathon has had Bib Pickup sites in different spots around the state. I went to Conway, about an hour away, to get mine at a store called the Sporty Runner. And let's take a look at what has come inside the race kit. So here you go. That is my bib. I'm probably gonna put my name on here just so people know what my name is. Here is this nice tech t-shirt, Viva Russ Vegas 10th Annual Marathon, with the slogan, "We had a good run," and all the sponsors on the back, because this is the last running of the half marathon in Russellville. And so everybody's just kind of saying goodbye. Ooh. This is a nice lightweight tech hoodie with Viva Russ Vegas 10th Annual Half Marathon and 10K. So there you go. Nice little hood on the back. And again, here on the sleeve, "We had a good run." So there's that. So there you go. Now, in the meantime, I've got to figure out what I am wearing as part of my race kit. I do know that I'm going to be wearing my ASICS Gel Nimbus 25s in order to run, but I haven't figured out the rest of what I'm going to be wearing. So we're going to have to wait and see. I also need to narrow down exactly which fuel I want to bring with me, because if you watched the Jeff Galloway Half Marathon, I kind of did a huge boo-boo and forgot to fuel. Thankfully, you know, it was a nice cold day. I got plenty of hydration, and it turns out that I did okay without the fuel, but I'm trying not to make that mistake again. So you'll have to stay tuned and see what it is I ended up doing. So I will see you on race day. And good morning from Russellville, Arkansas. I am in the downtown area, just a few feet away from the start line. It is a cool morning, about 45 degrees, and should be somewhere in the mid-50s by the time we finish. So it's a little chilly now, but otherwise not too bad. I've got long sleeves on for the time being, but shorts to kind of keep me cooled down. I've already hit the porta potties for the morning, had some conversations with some people about shoes. Everybody's seems to be in a great mood. I've met up with the half marathon fanatics here, and it looks like it's going to be a great crowd and a fun race. See you guys in a bit. Okay, just past the 5K mark. Went out a little faster than I meant to. I'm trying to keep it reined in, and we'll see how this pays off by the time I reach the halfway point. Here we go. Halfway done. We just passed mile 7. Hips are tight and my stomach is really upset, but I'm gonna keep going. See how we do. Here we go. in. We've got 5K left to go. Stomach's still bothering me and hips are still tight, but it's time to see if I have anything left in the gas tank. So here we go. Wraps things up for the final RussVegas Half Marathon. As you can see, it was a beautiful day for running. The downside was that there was a bit of a breeze and we were running straight into that breeze for a whole bunch of the race. So with me already trying to put some effort into running, it just felt like everything kept pushing me back. But there were some times when we would turn and the breeze would be behind us. Unfortunately, it just wasn't all that often. Now, the good thing about the RussVegas course is that it is super flat. There's a couple of smaller hills, barely even a hill just in the residential areas, and then what is called the RussVegas Hill, which is an overpass that you have to run at mile 11. They do anticipate people having difficulty with that hill though, because they have cheer squads at the bottom of the hill, about halfway up, and then again at the top of the hill, just to make sure that you keep going. Like I mentioned in the video, I kind of went out a little bit harder than I meant to. Again, it was just the excitement of everybody trying to get out of the starting gate as quickly as possible in order to make room for the people behind us. They started 10K and half marathon at the same time. But within the first quarter of a mile, there was a split where the half marathon went one direction and the 10K went another direction. I don't believe that they met up again until it was around mile 2 for the half marathon, and it was around mile 1 for the 10K. So they had already pretty much passed by the time we had gotten there. When I first started, I was just in front of the 2:45 pace group. And let me tell you, those pacers for this race were absolutely incredible. In fact, the pacers that were directly behind me, they had Bluetooth speakers on and they would play music that was the exact cadence that they needed to keep up. So as long as you were running with the music, then you were at the exact cadence that you needed to be in order to maintain a 2:45 pace. And they had a variety of tunes from hip hop to emo punk to 90s grunge, and it was all just super fun to listen to. And so that's why I was kind of able to get a pretty good clip starting out. And I believe at mile 1, I heard them behind me saying, hey, we're about 20 seconds ahead of where we need to be, which I decided to take that as a sign. And I said, you know what, instead of starting out slow and then speeding up after mile 5 and then again at mile 10, I'm just going to maintain this pace for 10 miles and then step it up when I'm able to about 5K from the end. And so I was able to make up some time just by keeping up that nice pace. Once I had lost them back behind me, I could still kind of feel that tempo in my body, and so I stayed with that cadence and with that pace fairly easily. After a while though, it just kind of started to wear thin, especially since I was dealing with stomach issues during that day, and for some reason my hips were just really, really tight. And so I was not able to fuel because I knew if I put anything into my stomach, it was going to come back up. So I did definitely stay hydrated. They had Gatorade and water on the course, and a lot of very, very super awesome, friendly people that were working the aid stations and making sure that we were okay. Lots of porta potties on the course as well. So if I needed that, then that was going to be something that I could grab pretty quickly. But I was really afraid to put any kind of fuel in there. They had goo available. I had sports beans and some other things available in my pocket, and I was afraid that it was going to really upset my stomach to the point where I would slow down a whole lot. And I did have to a couple of times say, okay, I'm just going to take 20 steps at a walking pace, and then I'm going to get back up to running. And I did that, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times, and then finally just started picking the pace back up and said, I'm, just a couple of miles from the end and I can definitely make it. The race course itself, like I said, very flat and very fast. It's very good for people that are looking for any type of a PR. And there are various places kind of strategically placed around the course where you find yourself really needing a pick-me-up, and that's where they would have crowds there. So I don't know if the race planners really kind of pushed that, but there were a lot of businesses and organizations and things that had tents out there with people cheering for you and handing out candy and more water and drinks and things like that. So the crowd support was fantastic, and it was exactly in the places where you needed it, and then quiet where you needed it to be as well. During the first part of the race, you were running mostly through a residential area, and there were so many people that were out there with like their kids, grandkids, pets, and what have you, with speakers playing music. It was a little cold, so they'd be out there with coats and blankets and stuff, but still sitting out there cheering for everybody, handing out candy, handing out drinks, handing out Kleenex, because a lot of us had running noses because of all the wind and the cold weather. So definite crowd support from the very beginning. And then during the last, I'd say, quarter mile or so, you're running along the street in the downtown area. There are a lot of businesses out there that are playing music. They're out there cheering for you. And then you make one last corner into the finishing chute area. And as we were going down that last about half mile or so, there were several of us that kind of were running the same pace. And right as we rounded that corner, one of them looked up at the clock and said, "Guys, we have a chance at a 2:30. Let's book it." So I looked at my watch, and sure enough, I was within that time limit. And so we just used every last bit of energy we had, and every single one of us, about 5 of us there, just sprinted full on for that finish line. And which is why I didn't get any footage of me actually crossing the finish line, because I was so focused on just using that last little bit of energy to get across the line. Once I did cross the line, I felt like everything just drained out of me all at once. They gave me my medal, and the woman that gave me my medal also had her hands up just in case I was going to fall down, because I looked a little wobbly. I was crying. I was just so happy to to have finally broken 2:30 for the first time since probably 2018 or so. Again, it's not my fastest half marathon ever, but I am getting ever closer, and it's getting faster and faster every time. And so what was my final time? My chip time at the end was 2:29:10. Ah, I just feel like I put so much work into that. And honestly, I'd like to see if I could shave any more off of that. I mean, I know I'm not getting a whole lot faster. With me getting older, of course, I'm going to be slowing down a little bit. I'm probably not going to be able to hit any of the times that I hit about 5 years ago, but I am making some progress. Now, looking at some of my finishing stats, I had an overall pace of 11:23, which I definitely believe that I can bring down. Overall, finished 4:55 out of 809 competitors, and out of the female 45 to 49 age group, I finished 31 of 64. So again, just reiterating that I am a very average middle of the pack runner, and I'm just making just tiny small improvements every time. But enough about that. Let's take another look at this fantastic medal, and here you go. The Half Marathon in fabulous Russ Vegas, Arkansas. This is just kind of an in-joke in Arkansas. There's a lot of weird nicknames that we give towns, and Russ Vegas is one that was given to Russellville, and it's stuck. So they kind of went with it. So you can see here we have a nice little gambling table. We got the roulette wheel up at the top, and then we have these nice little sliding poker chips. The numbers that they have on the poker chips represent the different races that they have. So they have the 1 for the 1 miler, 5 for the 5K, 10 for the 10K, and then a black 13.1. So they have these that can slide around. And then, of course, they've got these nice little spinning dice here at the bottom. So super nice. And then the 2023 Half Marathon. There you go, RussVegas Half Marathon. You can see this is super nice, super good size, and really well made. I will say one thing about races in Arkansas is we do take a lot of pride in our medals. So this is definitely one that I can't wait to display with all the rest of my medals. So there you go, a fond farewell to the fabulous RussVegas Half Marathon. The last time that I ran it, like I said, was in 2016, where it took me nearly 3 hours to finish, and now here I am running the last one, and it took me 2:29 to get across that finish line. So Time marches on, guys. There are some races that go away, and all we can do is bid them a fond farewell and look forward to the next great race. So why don't you give me your thoughts down below? Maybe tell me about a race that you've had to say goodbye to recently, since I know a lot of races have been disappearing off the map. If you are in Arkansas and you have run Russ Vegas, why don't you let me know down in the comments below? While you're here, you can also subscribe so that you don't miss any of the fun running content that I have coming out all the time. Just click the button down below. It doesn't cost you a thing. You could also follow me on social media. All the links are down in the description. You can find me across all platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you could be here. Remember to laugh hard, run fast, and be kind. I'll see you later.